All right, good evening, and good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching from. Welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and today we have a packed show for you. So today I would be talking to two gentlemen, Mr. Jibreal Agbesi Hamenoo. Mr. Jibreal was with us last 2 weeks before the year ended. So viewers who have watched our last show, you are aware of Mr. Agbesi. He'll be joining us today. I also have Mr. Paul Desosu, who we'll be talking to. Paul Desosu, who we will be talking to. Paul is coming all the way from, or joining us all the way from Massachusetts. And today the topics we have table for discussions are John Dramani Mahama's petition to the Electoral Commission. So that will be the first thing we talk about. We'll spend most of our time talking about that. The next thing we'll be talking about is the swearing in of the 8th Parliament. That is scheduled to take place midnight of January 7th. We'll be spending some time on that as well. And we'll talk about SALL, which is the Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likpe issue. We would be talking about the gerrymandering issue, whether Mr. Amewu will be going to Parliament or not. And then the last thing we'll take a look at is the economic recovery for 2021. We will do a little bit of forecasting on that. So first of all, I wanted to take the opportunity to wish you all a happy new year, and thanks for sticking with Ghana Agenda on ACO Radio. I will be right back to introduce my guest, and we will start the program. So stick around, tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is on. And again, my name is Alfred Amuzu. We will be right back. All right, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. My name again is Alfred Amuzu, and today the topics we table for discussion today are John Dramani Mahama's petition to the Supreme Court. We'll also be talking about the swearing-in ceremony that would be taking place for the 8th Parliament, scheduled for midnight of 7th January. And then we will talk about SALL, which is the Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and the Likpe issue. And then to wrap it all up, we will look at the economic projections for 2021. To help me do this discussion today, I have in studio with me Mr. Jibreal Agbesi Hamenoo. Agbesi Hamenoo is an architect, solutions architect. He'll be introducing himself. We also have Paul Desosu. Who's a telecommunication engineer, joining us all the way from Massachusetts. Gentlemen, welcome and Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amuzu, and I want to take this opportunity to extend greetings to my friend, Mr. Jibreal, and your good self, and all the listeners who are here to listen to us this evening. We do this thing for the love of Ghana and for the love for the party that we belong to. So, we'll be here to make our submissions, and we'll be truthful as we can, and then lay the bare fact on the ground. So, I want to take this opportunity once again to wish all our listeners a happy new year. We hope this year will bring a lot of, better opportunities than it happened in 2020. And we hope that this year, the good Lord will bless all of us. Allah will bless all of us so that, we end the year successfully. I just want to pass this open comment for now.
All right. Thank you. And Jibreal? Jibreal, I think your microphone may be on mute.
Okay.
All right, we can hear you now.
Yes, sorry about that. Good afternoon, evening, morning, night to all the listeners globally who are tuned in to watch and listen to this discussion. And Happy New Year to your good self, Paul, my very good friend Paul, and everybody else. As Paul stated earlier on, we do this kind of engagement in the interest of God, our families, and our country, Ghana, that we love so much dearly. And so looking forward for the opportunity to talk about pertinent, the election petition, which is a very critical ingredient that will, stick to further develop Ghana's democratic credentials and get things done the right way for peace to prevail in our motherland.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, and thanks for agreeing to join me on my first show for 2021. So let's jump straight into it. I know our listeners are waiting to listen to what we have to say. So, guys, I assume you've read the petition that was filed by the former president, John Dramani Mahama, which has to do with the just ended election. In your view, what are the grounds on which you think this election petition is being filed, and what are some of the reliefs that Mahama is asking for? In other words, what does Mahama want?
Thank you very much. I will start by saying that, democracy is a very expensive, adventure if anyone wants to go into it. And as such, if you build a democracy to a level where Ghana has built a democracy, it's the responsibility for you, Mr. Muzu, my brother Jibreal, myself, and every Ghanaian to work hard to protect and safeguard that democracy. We can all understand and we all know what happened in the just past election held in Ghana. We all know how our democracy is on the line. Therefore, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has taken the opportunity to have this address. We all know the rigging, the floor election that was held, and the disrespectful manner in which the Jane Mensah-led commission is not trying to understand and sit on the table with the NDC for us to bring issues that we have on board for us to discuss. They told us we should go to court. We've gone to court now. We are going to present our case at court. We'll let all the listeners, the whole world will know what we are about to do. And Alfred, to say it or to summarize it, our case is simple. We went to court for the court to do a simple calculation of the figures. If you all agree with me, we will know that on the 9th of December, when the incompetent Jane Mensah was putting the results out, the figures she put out, being the total number of votes cast, was 13,434,574.
Okay.
When you look at the figure, according to her, which the president, His Excellency Nana Addo got, was Nana Addo had 6,730,413 votes, and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama had 6,214,889 votes. This is simple arithmetic, Mr. Muzo, which I believe my 10-year-old boy Jeremy, when he give these figures to you and you ask him to strike the percentage, he will strike the percentage and give you the appropriate figures.
Right.
The declaring the results on the 9th, the woman stated all these figures and told us that the president had 51.59%. Do the math yourself, Mr. Amuzo. You could realize that math there's a big error in that calculation. This is simple arithmetic, which we all did in 3rd grade, 4th grade. You are taught this thing in this country. So how come that competent electoral commissioner, they call themselves, they said we're on top of issue? How come that they got this simple arithmetic wrong? When issues were raised, when people started making a lot of comment, I was in Ghana, myself and Jibreal were in Ghana. Some of us started talking on some of the radio stations that this doesn't even add up. They quickly came up with an amendment saying that, they are sorry about that figure, the total vote that they put out there. They were supposed to be total valid vote cast. So she came out with another press release without a signature even under it for us to know whether it is coming from her, the Jane Mensah, or whoever that press release is coming from. They sought to correct the error according to them that they made on the 9th, and they ended up committing another error on the 10th statement.
Okay.
If you add the figures, or you add all the numbers that were given to all the 12 candidates, is it 12 or 11? 12 candidates. if you add all the figures up, the actual figure should be 30,121,101 should be the actual correct figure of valid vote cast. But this figure is nowhere near, or it has not been stated in any of the releases that the Mensa-led Electoral Commission has put out there.
Yeah, Mr. Paul. So I'm gonna have you take the time and walk us through the arithmetics, the mathematical error. But at this point, what I really wanted is for you to capture what the reliefs are. What are the specific things that Mahama is asking for in the petition? What does he want the Supreme Court to, rule in his favor? And Jibreal, you can jump in if you want.
Yeah. So yeah, Paul, while you take a stab at your documents, we know that the petition that His Excellency, the former president, submitted to the apex court of our land. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. Had is seeking 6 reliefs from the Supreme Court. I mean, I will go through them briefly, but I think that in a lay term for the ordinary listener to understand is that all these 6 reliefs point to just one simple thing. The simple thing is that the Electoral Commissioner, Jean Mensa, by the virtue of her declarations on the December 9th, in which she erroneously declared Nana Akufo-Addo as the president-elect of Ghana, violated Ghana's constitution, the 1992 constitution, Article 63, Clause 3, where it clearly states that a person shall not be elected as a president of Ghana unless at the presidential polls that person gets above 50% of the votes of valid votes cast. And if you look through the mathematics, which I think Paul will do justice to shortly, you realize that the declaration of Akufo-Addo on December 9th was flawed, because even if you use the EC's own figures based on what they declared and what they have made public to us, you use those figures, you will understand that mathematically Nana Akufo-Addo did not get the 50% plus 1 vote required by the Constitution of Ghana to be the president-elect. And as a result of that, in addition to other the thorough auditing that was undertaken by the NDC after that declaration to confirm what we know from the EC's own data, and then having gone through all the pink sheets from the over several thousands of polling stations in Ghana, collating the results and confirming that no candidate got the 50+1% vote required, that declaration should be nullified and made void, and the EC compelled to run a second round of elections, which is actually part of it's a constitutional mandate. So the relief that John Dramani Mahama is seeking at the petition can be summarized to what I just said. No candidate got the 50% plus 1 required to be declared as candidate-elect, and according to the Constitution, because no one got the numbers required, there should be a second round of vote between the top 2 leading candidates, which is John Dramani Mahama himself and the incumbent President Akufo-Addo. And so, yes, Albert, the reliefs, the chief summary of the reliefs is that the EC should conduct a second round of elections. Okay,
good. So I'm going back to that article you just read, which is 63.3. It says, a person shall not be elected as president of Ghana unless at the presidential election, the number of votes cast in his favor is more than 50% of the total number of valid votes cast at the election. Now, you said President Mahama is asking for a second round. What would this second round be? Would it be for all the candidates all the 12 candidates to go for a rerun of the entire election, or is going to be just a runoff between the president, John Dramani Mahama, and the president, Nana Akufo-Addo?
So if you go to the Constitution, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just reading from the Constitution. the Article 4 of 63.4 says that where at a presidential election there are more than 2 candidates and no candidate obtains the number of percentages of votes specified in clause 3, that is 50% plus 1 of this article, a second election shall be held within 21 days after the previous election. The candidates for a presidential election held under clause 4 of this article, that's I'm reading clause 5, shall be the 2 candidates who obtain the 2 highest numbers of votes at the previous election. So what this means is that because the 2 candidates who obtained the most highest votes in the election we had on December 7th will be the president Akufo-Addo, and then the John Dramani Mahama, the former president. If the Supreme Court upholds the petition of John Dramani Mahama, there should be a second round of voting held between these 2 candidates, and that is what the chief relief that the Mahama team is seeking from the Supreme Court of Ghana.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks for that answer, Mr. DeSoso. Do you have anything to add to the reliefs that Mahama is asking for at the Supreme Court? I think we can hear you, DeSoso. Can you? Yeah, maybe your thing is mute. No, we can't hear you still. Well, while DeSoso is trying to fix his microphone, I'm going to take 1 or 2 comments. DeSoso, if your microphone is up, you can speak. Let me see if I can hear you. No, I still can't hear you. Okay, while you work on that, let me take this comment. Meanwhile, interrupt me anytime your microphone works. So Seto, thanks for watching. Seto has a comment for us today. Seto says, how come the Peace Council, the other peace organization, and the journalists only come out to speak when the NDC hit the street to protest, but refuse to call on the EC to go back to conduct the election at SALL and add it to the Hohoe constituency before declaring Amawu the winner? Seto, that's a really good comment. We'll get Jibreal to start talking on it, and then Seto will come in once his microphone can work.
Yeah, so Albert and Seto, that's a very, very valid point you raised over there. I mean, I have raised on several platforms that, our country, Ghana, in fact, what we are seeing is the microcosm of what our society is. There's too much hypocrisy in Ghana, and this is reflected right from our villages, even our village committees, our church committees, our mosque committees, wherever, and up to the national level. People tend to, just a few voices tend to actually stick by principles. Standing by principles means that when Kofi is wrong, you must say Kofi is wrong. When Ama is wrong, you must say Ama is wrong. But you don't say Kofi is wrong, and then when Ama does the same thing, you keep quiet or you go hide in the basement or whatever. And that is so disheartening. See, the Peace Council in Ghana is made up of very respectable men and women, some of which we know. We Ghanaians, we are people of faith. So somehow you will belong to a faith community that may have a representative on these peace councils. And these are people we look up to. They are our mentors and all that. But when it comes to the issue of the conduct of this electoral commission since the taking of power of Akufo-Addo till now, how the electoral commission has behaved, they have been just too quiet and too silent. Sometimes I don't really blame them, because if you recall, the EC formed an eminent committee of advisors, which included some of these men from this Peace Council and this Moral Society organizations. But when they gave a recommendation to the EC threw it into the dustbin. So probably they are toothless. But this is the point. They must continue to be heard, so that Ghanaians can judge between them and the Electoral Commission and the other institutions that are messing up who is doing the right thing. Because sometimes silence is consent, or silence means, if in the midst of all the evil and bad deeds that are going on, keeping quiet and not being heard to be standing with principles sometimes implies collusion and condoning of evil themselves.
Right. So silence can be consent. And Mr. Paul, let me see if your mic works now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. So
okay, good.
Paul, if you can go ahead and tell us if there's anything that we forgot to capture in the reliefs being asked for from the Supreme Court by former President Mahama.
Yes, I think Jibreal did justice to this by summarizing the 6 reliefs as he just enumerated on your show this evening. What I just want to add to it is that make no mistake. Our opponents are over there. Trying to ridicule this relief, but we are not going to court to go and then ask for issues related with the EC, having overruled voting and all those stuff. We went to court simply for the EC, for the court to force the EC to look at its arithmetic calculation again. It is flawed. That's all what we are asking. We are asking the Electoral Commission, we are asking the court to force the Electoral Commission to look at those results again, because you cannot declare someone on a result that is not right. Mathematically, statistically, those results doesn't even make sense. So let's wait for the court case to start. The NDC is going to present its case to the whole world. We are going to see the flaws in the case. And don't forget also that the NDC is using the EC's own figures.
Okay.
We are not taking any figures from anywhere. We are using the figures that the EC put out there. You can see there are instances whereby on the 9th declaration results, for example, when you add all, you get 100.03%. Where on earth, this is the first time, and it's going to go into the Guinness Book of Records, whereby election has been held, and that when you calculate all the total valid vote cast, it's more than 100%.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we don't have to go to court. I personally, and I think Jibreal agreed with me, and could agree with me, that this is not an issue for us going to court. Because remember that, and I was in Ghana with Jibreal, before this woman was about to declare the results, the NDC brought a petition before the EC, raising issues with some abnormalities in the calculations.
Okay.
If this woman has shown fairness, when you look at Article 23 and 296, which if can state for B, if she has shown fairness in discharging of her duty, okay, she should have accepted and listened to the petition that the NDC brought. And there we could have pointed to her that there are some errors that you've made, which is unacceptable. She refused to listen. She went out there and she has disgraced herself now. Now Ghana has become a laughing stock to the whole world. People are laughing at us. When I came back to the US, my friends are laughing at us that this is the only country whereby you hold election and the election the total percentage is over 100%, which is a serious thing. So I think the court, we are believing and we trust that the judges in the Supreme Court will do the right thing.
Okay.
We are just asking for fair calculation. That's all we are asking for.
Right. Before we go into the calculation, which I want you to help me, analyze the numbers and walk my listeners and viewers through what, the numbers you believe are wrong and what the correct numbers should be. Before we do that, you mentioned that the NDC will be relying on the EC's numbers to explain their case. Is that because the NDC doesn't have their own numbers? What is the reason the NDC will be depending on the EC's numbers instead of producing their own numbers from their pink sheets?
I believe that's a very good question you've put out there. And you see, this media cabal, some of the media cabal who are throwing dust into the eyes of our brothers and sisters are trying to say that the NDC is running away from its original case, stating that they've won the election. I just want to state it on record on this show that we still stand by that. Per our pink sheet calculations, we know the election, we won the election hands down. But you know what? Looking at the duration, you know that the Supreme Court has done some changes in the duration that they are going to listen to any presidential petition that they bring before them. Now, instead of, if you look at the 2013 petition, it took over 8 months. Now they said they are going to sit on it for only 42 days. Based upon that, based upon the auditing that the NDC did, and then based upon the findings that came out, the legal brains in the party sat down and put their best foot forward. And the best foot forward is you, the Electoral Commission, the figures you yourself have putting out there is what we are talking about. We will force and we will compel her, the Electoral Commissioner, to sit down again and let's go through the calculation. Because, my brother, you know that we've stated on record that there are some instances whereby some of the figures that they gave to, His Excellency, the President, were pardoned. And we have all those pink sheets to prove our case. But this is the case whereby, apart from that, the Electoral Commission itself put wrong figures out there, did wrong calculations, simple calculation, they got it wrong. We are going to compel them. We are going to base upon their own figures to make our case. And then based upon that, the truth will come out. And I believe if the judges at the Supreme Court brings in an independent auditor, and the auditor should sit down and validate all the pink sheet, the 38,000 pink sheet, the truth will come out.
Okay. Truth will come out. So now, what I'm going to do is have you help me understand the numbers as reported by the EC that the NDC think is inaccurate. I don't know if Jibreal or Paul, you want to take that, but what are the numbers? What is arithmetically wrong with the result declared by the Electoral Commission on the 9th or on the 10th?
Okay, I'll start with on the 9th, and then I think my brother Jibreal will take over. When we look at on the 9th declaration, when she was doing the calculation, the total valid vote cast, that's what she used in computing her figures. And she gave the total valid vote cast as 13,434,574. Once again, 13,434,574. That is what she told the whole world. That was the valid, she said valid
votes.
She said valid vote cast.
Right.
And then she said the second respondent, which is the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he got 6,730,413 vote cast. My brother, when you strike that percentage, that's 6,730,413, and you divide it by 13,434,574, and multiplied by 100, you're going to get 50.09.
Yep, that's correct.
You are not going to get 51.599 he gave to the president.
Okay.
And you don't forget that people are saying that, okay, she corrected the result the following day. But when she was gazetting the result, which is a constitutional instrument, when she was gazetting the result, she said under her handwriting on the 9th of December, which means she's still standing by those figures she put out on the 9th.
Okay, so what you're saying is she made a mistake on the 9th.
Exactly.
Then she went and gazetted then she came back on the 10th to correct the mistake.
Exactly. With that correction, she even committed more errors in that correction, because she stated that in the release that came out, she stated that even though the first total valid vote, she said, which was cast, was 13,434,000, it includes spot ballot. So she came out and gave another figure. You understand me? And even the figure she gave for the second time, when you calculate it, it's still wrong. And what she did the second time was that when she was in the process of, putting another figure out, she stated categorically that none of the presidential candidate figures change. But it shows that she took almost 1,780 votes out of Mahama's figures and increased the president's vote. But my brother, those issues are legal issues that will be dealt at the court. I am saying that even on the time, the figure that she gave, if you calculate all the 12 presidential candidates, the figure she gave is still wrong.
Okay. So
it's a messed up, and this woman needs to sit up and let's do the correct thing.
Yeah, so what I would like you to do is as you say, that she's giving us wrong numbers, I'd like for you to give us those numbers where you said she's taken some 1,100 off of Mahama or added 1,700 to the president. If you can give us those numbers to help my listeners understand what the issues are. So first, you said on the 9th, the declaration made on by the Electoral Commissioner as the result received by Nana Addo was 6,730,413. Is that
exactly
correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What was John Mahama's numbers?
So he gave John Mahama 6 million 214,889.
889. Okay.
And the percentage that he even gave to Mahama was also wrong. Because according to him, when he struck that figure, he gave Mahama 47.36%, which is not right. It is wrong. If you strike the 6,241,889 over the total valid vote, according to where that was cast, Mahama is supposed to get 46.260%, not 47.366%. So you could see that, I mean, everything is wrong. All her calculation is wrong. That is why we are asking the court to compel her to sit down again. Let's go to the figures. And after going to the figures, it will merge that based on her own figures, it's going to be merging out that none of the candidates got the 50 plus 1 vote to be, called president-elect.
Okay, great. So, Jibreal, you have been listening to Paul show out these numbers. Then also Paul said when it came time to gazette the results, that what was gazetted was not what was corrected on the 10th. It wasn't the correct numbers that were shown out on the 10th, but rather the mistake reading numbers that were declared on the 9th. And now we are also saying that based on the numbers gazetted or based on the numbers declared on the 9th, that Mahama wouldn't get, or President Nana Akufo-Addo wouldn't get 50 and more to be declared president-elect of the country by Article 63, subsection 3. What are those calculations? Can you help us, or can you help me and my viewers walk through how did we arrive at the president not getting 50 plus 1% to become president?
So I need to take a step back regarding why we are in court and the issue of numbers. See, Albert, this is a cocktail of mathematical errors the EC has committed, which I believe could have been resolved through fair play and administrative engagements, without us having to go to court. I want to restate on this program again that the decision by the NDC leadership to go to court was based on a thorough auditing and recalculation of what really happened on December 7th. Now, you would ask, why don't you just go to court with your audit results? And of course, this is part of the audit results as well. But taking the EC's own declarations, for example, the declarations of December 9th, the numbers, see, I think going over all these millions numbers and all that will further confuse, further confuse listeners.
Okay.
The declaration on December 9th had basic mathematical flaws, which we have litigated on this program and other platforms over and over again. On the 10th of December, the EC did a press release to admit to that mistake and then gave a different valid vote cast as 13,119,460, I believe, or so. And so they made a mistake on the 9th. This is the new figure.
Right.
People should pardon them for that. Then when it was time to gazette, one would have expected that they would go with the corrected figure, which they came up with. But they didn't. They went back and referenced the December 9th errors, So I from a non-legal point of view, I would think that if we went to a chief's court with this, that is the first thing we need to look at. Okay, then this is the number you have presented as a gazetted value number, to the people of Ghana. Let's audit that. If you have followed John Dramani Mahama right from when he decided not to accept this result, he's been asking for an independent audit. Let's get an independent audit. This is a mathematical issue. This is a counting issue, right?
Yeah.
It's true that it's at the court. I mean, and there will be a need for legal conversation, legal debates here and there, and all that. But I have been asking that, hey, in this particular case, the reliefs that are being sought by John Dramani Mahama is just to say that nobody, if you count all the votes from these 38,000 plus polling stations, nobody got 50 plus 1%. These are my numbers. But to confirm that, let's get an independent audit to look at the numbers and confirm or throw away these assertions. And that should be this petition actually, I think, is the most straightforward, very easy to deal with. Of course, this is the second petition in Ghana, but it's one of the most easy to deal with in my opinion. Look, the numbers that Jin Mensa produced on December 9th,
Right.
stating that Akufo-Addo got 51.595% and Mahama got 47.366% are inaccurate, as Paul has demonstrated. If you do a mathematics, divide the total by what each person gets. Apart from one candidate, all the 12 presidential candidates, the numbers that were attributed to them were all wrong.
Right.
The next day, the EC came back and said, well, we made a mistake with our total valid vote cast. So let's change it. But even if we change that base, the percentages will stay the same, which is also not mathematically accurate. You cannot change a base of a percentage calculation and the outcome will be the same.
Same, yeah.
But even granted that, you would expect that when they go to Gazette, they will Gazette that. But they didn't. They went back to the flawed result, which they themselves claim was wrong. That's why they are correcting it. So if that becomes a legal instrument that declares Akufo-Addo as the president, that legal instrument is flawed and must be challenged. And I think that is why, in my lay understanding, the legal team of the NDC will want to focus on that first of all, and then Albert, let me add quickly. We have heard the MPP, the campaign manager Mark Menu himself, also admits that the election results that have been assigned to various candidates are wrong. So we both have the same agreement that the declaration has some mathematical flaws. How do we cure that flaw? An independent audit. Right.
So, Jibreal, let me add this thing to it. I think, Alfred, Jibreal gave a very good, the figure they gave on the 10th, which is the 30,119,460, according to the Electoral Commissioner. When you calculate all the percentage, the actual vote got by each presidential candidate, the actual figure is supposed to be 13,121,101. So that's what I am saying, that even on the 10th correction was even wrong.
Right.
So we can't be joking with simple figures which involve lives. As we speak, 8 people have lost their life just because of this election. I think it is mandated on the EC and the commissioners over there to do 360, thinking of themselves and see what they've done to the nation Ghana. Right. As Jibreal said, as my brother said, we wait for the court to take a decision because the legal brains know what is best for us. So no one should make a mistake and think we are running away from our case, because I was on a show, I've been listening to a lot of radio commentary from most of the radio hosts in Ghana saying that now that the NDC has done 360 away from their case, saying Mahama won the election. The truth of the issue is Mahama won the election. We all still stand by that assertion. But if someone who is a neutral referee is being a referee between 2 people playing a match and he or she has put in wrong figures there, it's better for us to go and challenge those wrong figures. Based upon that, whatever the true figures say, it will come out and he or she will be exposed. And as Jibreal said, the MPP now agreed, and McMahon has said it's on record. And they are saying that McMahon don't speak for the party again. So whatever he said on Joy FM 2 or 3 days ago, nobody should take it serious. We are not going to accept that.
Okay, so let me play the devil's advocate here very quickly, right? So I'm looking at you saying the numbers that were declared on December 9th were wrong.
The 10th was wrong.
Yes, that number was wrong. Then came December 10th. The correction itself
was also wrong.
Okay. Yes. But strangely, when you were calculating the 50, and then you also pick up on the statement made by the Electoral Commissioner that if Techim and SAF, which was not declared on December 9th, is added to former President John Mahama's numbers, that he will still, President Nana Akufo-Addo will still get about 50% to be president-elect. So it wouldn't really matter. Okay.
That is not true.
Now, I noticed that the NDC is using that as one of the relief or one of the grounds for which they are putting the petition out. And yes, you guys are saying that, of course, you guys are basing this calculation on the wrong numbers that EC declared. Why are you not using your own numbers? And in using your own numbers, are you still arriving at the same conclusion that Nana Akufo-Addo will not get 50 plus 1% to be president?
Yeah, that is right. That is correct. And don't also forget that apart from...
I think we lost your audio. Jibreal, if you can pick it up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. I think the day she was declaring the result, she stated categorically that the Chima South constituency results is not added to it.
Yes.
And don't forget that the Chima South has over 128,000 voters over there. And according to her own statement, if they add all those votes to John Mahama's vote, still the president has still gotten the 50 plus 1, which is a fallacy. Don't also forget that, Jibreal, if you remember, the following day, 2 days later, they came out and told us that they forgot adding one constituency from the eastern region to the figures.
Right.
So, I mean, you see the error upon error upon error upon error. So, upon what basis did she declare Nanado as the president? Because if you add Techim South and then I've forgotten the constituency in the eastern region, those figures, if you add it to it, I mean, it's definitely going to change the whole calculation.
Right.
So let's get the right thing done. As Jibreal said, we don't need to go to court over this issue. This is our administrative issues that we could have dealt with. The Electoral Commission should have sit on the table with the Peace Council, with the two parties involved for this thing to be resolved. But unfortunately, the Peace Council are now become a toothless bulldog in Ghana. They cannot speak. When it is one person is in government, they have the mouth, they have the audacity to talk. But when another government is in power, they go hiding, they can't talk. If the Electoral Commissioner has shown fairness according to Article 23 and 269, whereby she's supposed to be fair to each other, and she had understood the complaint that the NDC brought and allow us to sit on the table to do the needful, I don't think we should end up in court.
Okay. I mean, I've heard, that they've done recounting Dambai and a few other places for the MPP. But each time the NDC will come out and request for recount that, the EC usually knocks that out. Okay, let me ask this question.
So Alfred, before you ask your question, I want to say that, let's assume without admitting that after correcting the mathematics, everything, Nana Addo does get the 50% plus required to be president. But that 50% plus is different from the 51 point something that Jean Mensa declared.
Right.
That is also illegal in the sense that that constitutional instrument that then declares the president becomes inaccurate. So that could be corrected. And I also want to re-emphasize that apart from the inaccuracies in the EC's own calculation, which when you use will not give anyone that 50% plus, it is a known fact, and some of that has been shown. The petition has an exhibit that provided a sample of 32 constituencies that we have observed padding or changing of number of votes, the real picture, and all that. And in my own backyard, Ketunov, in my own backyard, Ketunov is one of them that Akufo-Addo got padded with about 270 votes. You go to Okaikwe North, you go to Okaikwe South, Asante Akim North, all of them, this padding happened. So you would come to know through this court petition, if the Supreme Court judges are minded to deliver justice to the people of Ghana, to make sure that the constitutional instrument that will be upheld to declare the president of Ghana really represents what the actual vote cast is.
Okay.
You then find out that there will be a need for a second round. Because if you take all this padding out, you will get to the true figures. And that is also one basis of the NDC's petition. Look, I am not a lawyer, I keep saying that, but I believe that the lawyers are going to court based on the best approach that will to tease out the best in our Supreme Court judges to make sure that the right thing is done.
Exactly.
We believe that when those numbers are properly crunched, the story will be completely different.
Exactly.
But then, what is the easier way to go? What is the best way to get the EC, to get the Supreme Court judges to appoint an independent auditor? What is the best in your opinion? Especially given the fact that the MPP is complaining that even the 46% or 47% Mahama got is padded. So yes, it's padded. There are errors in that. And we also affirm the same. So two litigants come to court. I come to court saying that, I have 10 mangoes, but what I'm seeing here is 9. And then the other person says, yes, it's true. I saw 10 mangoes, but now it's 8.
Right.
That should be very easy for our Supreme Court judges to do the right thing. They don't need to waste time on any legal whatever, in my opinion. Just day one, get a private auditing firm, truly independent auditing firm to audit these results in public daylight. And that's all we need.
I mean, this is one thing that you find both parties agreeing on, right? Agreeing that the Electoral Commission has actually erred in this case. You rarely see the two parties agreeing on one thing these days. Now, let me ask my question here. On the 5th January, the final message on the State of the Union will be delivered in Parliament by His Excellency the President Nana Akufo-Addo, in accordance with Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution. On Wednesday, the 6th January 2021, the Senate Parliament will stand dissolved at midnight in accordance with Article 113, subsection A of the 1992 Constitution. At 12:01 a.m., January 7th, the elected members of the 8th Parliament will convene in the Chamber of Parliament to elect a Speaker and 2 deputies in accordance with Article 95, 96, 100, subsection 2 of the 1992 Constitution, after which the elected members of the 8th Parliament will be sworn in by the Speaker at the Chamber of Parliament as per Article 100, subsection 1 of the 1992 Constitution. The President-elect will then be sworn in before the 8th Parliament in accordance with Article 57, subsection 3 of the 1992 Constitution. What is your expectation of how these events will unfold in Parliament in the next few days?
For me, I think concerning the dissolving of Parliament and its constitutional issue, it needs to happen on the 6th, midnight of the 6th, and the 8th Parliament, the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic should be installed in. But the question over here is that we have some issues with some of the parliamentary, elections. Tetima South is still in contention as we speak. The NDC has asked the Electoral Commissioner, has asked all that we can speak to to give us a summary sheet of the election result declares at Techima South. As we speak, we don't have it. So the party, the NDC has, taking this issue up. And we are also going to, I think, Okrujeto Ablakwa stated it 2 days ago, saying that we are not going to allow, anyone who does not qualify to be inaugurated as a member of parliament for that to happen. As to what they are going to do, I cannot say, but I think, fairness needs to be played over here.
Okay.
The EC's, declaration, the NDC now has 137 seats.
Okay.
The NPP also have 137, but technically it's 136. Why am I saying 136? Because Huawei there's an injunction placed on the Huawei seat. Peter Amewu. Those injunctions, they ask for 3 issues. That the electoral commissioner cannot declare him as the winner of the election, and that he cannot be gazetted, and then the parliament house cannot accept him as a member of parliament.
Okay.
And so surprising, this man, news flying around, pictures flying around, is seen in Parliament House filling the form. Where is the law of Ghana? Ghana has become a republic state as we speak. People go and violate order that has been given by a court. And I was so surprised to see that the Deputy Attorney General, the Attorney General Department, has taken its own court, its whole court, to the Supreme Court to challenge them. It's only under Akufo-Addo's government that you're going to see these things. I am not a lawyer, but the simple, human, thinking should tell you that you cannot do that. You cannot state fighting state. It is not accepted. Why won't you allow Peter Amewu to fight his own case? Why is the Attorney General going to the Supreme Court, asking the Supreme Court to quash the injunction that has been placed on Peter Amewu? It's difficult for me to understand. I don't know, maybe my brother Jibreal will be able to explain to me, but it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So if the court sits on the case, the court is going to listen to the case tomorrow. And if the court upheld the issue that the current member of parliament, Professor Margaret Kwaku, has taken to the court and stating that those the SALL people are supposed to be part of Huawei. If they have to allow them to vote, then I think the Huawei election need to be run again for the parliamentary, so they can allow all those people to vote, so that we can see actually who is the true member of parliament. Don't forget, my Alfred, right from day one, I've been following this issue. I think the current member of parliament has taken this issue to court. However, the substantive issue is in court, challenging the legality of how can you create a new region, and half of them will be in a voter region, the other half will be. It just doesn't make sense. Until, as we speak, those people used to vote in Huawei. So the right thing for them to do is that you allow these people to cast their vote in Huawei until you, the EC, you are ready to create a new CI, whereby you go to create a new constituency for them, then you take them out of Huawei. I think that's what issue is. And this is a straight, simple forward issue. I don't understand why the Attorney General is trying to quash and fight its own. It's beyond my imagination.
Yeah, so my understanding is it's a Supreme Court judgment on this issue of, I think this would have to do with the constitutional instrument 112, which created the T region, and that Huawei perhaps is left stranded between Volta and
OT region.
Let me then further ask the question that should Amewu be allowed to swear in as a parliamentary, the parliamentary representative from Huawei on the 7th.
So
these people, let me just give a short listen. These people, they plan and they know what they are doing. That is why they have gone or run to the Supreme Court, forcing the Supreme Court to sit on the issue, because the SALL people took this issue to the whole court, and then injunction was placed on him. So one of the injunction was that even the parliament House should not recognize him as a member of parliament elected. So I just don't understand what is going on. Let's wait. Tomorrow we'll all get to understand. After the Supreme Court sit on the case tomorrow, we'll know the way forward. For now, legally, he is not, or he cannot call himself as a member of parliament legally for now, because there's an injunction on him.
Well, the injunction is ex parte, which pretty much means it's interlocutory.
Exactly.
So it's only for 10 days, right?
10 days, exactly.
And that 10 days is going to expire before the swearing in actually takes effect. Because, he has to come and respond to that interlocutory injunction. And if in fact, there's a need to extend the injunction, then, the petitioner would have to go apply again for that extension to happen. So in the meantime, what would cause, in other words, how would Hamenoo actually now be able to become a parliamentarian on the 7th? What would have to happen?
I think the Supreme Court, we all know, the Supreme Court will be giving a ruling tomorrow as to whether the injunction that was placed on him should stand or it should be quashed. So after the ruling tomorrow, then we'll know whether he will be able to be allowed to be inaugurated as a member of parliament. To my layman, and I'm not the legal person, so I might maybe not know the consequences of what he's doing. But I think and I believe that the Supreme Court, or the court of the land, all of us need to respect the rules of the court of the land. So if the Attorney General has not dragged the whole High Court and the other petitioners to the Supreme Court, I believe Hamenoo would have gone to answer for himself. Why wouldn't they allow him to go and answer for himself, and rather the state is fighting itself? I just don't understand. Jibreal, if maybe you can help me.
Yeah, I wish I was. So look, I haven't attained any legal education or certification or whatever, but I strongly believe that law, constitution, legal matters must make sense. Anything that doesn't make sense cannot be, a good law or so that people, need to adhere to. In the case of Peter Hamenoo and the whole court, my position has been that I think he should have, responded in his own capacity, because this is a case between him and other citizens of the republic pertaining to an election.
Let me quickly and say that he's running away from being served. The media, his people actually attack the bailiff.
Yes, that's interesting. He's running away from being served, and he should have been served. He should have made himself available, and also he should have gone to the whole court to speak for himself and quash the injunction and do whatever he needs to do in his personal capacity. Right. So I don't really understand. I've read some lawyers opine on Facebook and other places that what the Attorney General has done is doable, is allowed, and all that. I don't understand. I think that it is abuse of the office of the Attorney General, in my opinion. And also, it's been my understanding that issues pertaining to parliamentary election disputes should be served at the High Court, and not the Supreme Court. So I don't also understand why the Attorney General decided to go to a Supreme Court asking that they overrule or something on the High Court case. Right. Maybe they should have also gone to the same High Court or to a different High Court to get things squared out. So, Paul, as you said, as we enter this week, I'm sure there will be more light on this. And those of us who are not lawyers but have common sense to see and read beyond the line will be following. Now, back to Alfred, the question you asked about the events between now and January 7th and all that is what the law or our conventions or the regulations, the law in Ghana states. And those things should be done in accordance with common sense and the law.
Right.
The reliefs that John Mahama is seeking from his petition, the relief E, is that an order of injunction restraining the second respondent from holding himself out as a president-elect, And F, an order of mandatory injunction directing the first respondent, that is the EC, to proceed to conduct a second election with petitioner, so between him and Akufo-Addo. So if you look at the relief E, Mahama is asking for an injunction on Akufo-Addo regarding himself as the president-elect. So while it is in place that he's still the president, on January 5th, he should give us a message, whatever message, State of the Union and all that. He must do that. Beyond that, as a legal, so-called legal luminary that they want us to believe he is, he's a lawyer. And all that, I would expect that he himself will know that this is in court and behave accordingly. Listen, some people have advocated that, hey, the Constitution doesn't provide for a vacuum. So if Akufo-Addo were to stop referring to himself as a president-elect and he's not sworn in on January 7th, there will be a vacuum. I don't agree. I don't believe that. In fact, in the absence of the president, the vice president acts as a president, and the two of them actually in this case have to go. In the absence of that, there's a chief justice. I think it's the chief justice.
And the chief justice, there's an issue with it at the now. That's why the NDC, NPP are fighting over who has majority, who is going to let the chief justice.
Not chief justice.
Sorry, the speaker. The speaker.
The chief justice holds the fort as the president. In the absence of that, then we have the speaker of parliament, and I think there's a hierarchy that way. So I don't see how a vacuum could be created from January 7th if the laws of our land prevail. I mean, if this relief E is granted, for example, and which means that Akufo-Addo cannot hold himself as a president-elect and therefore cannot be sworn in on January 7th, we will still have a president, a leader of Ghana, according to our constitution. That would be, I believe, the chief justice.
So, but basically speaking, that would be the most difficult relief of all the reliefs that he's
exactly.
Yeah, it's difficult, but why not? I mean, going to a Supreme Court is not an easy task, right? It's a difficult task. There is a competition. Look, Real Madrid and Manchester United have played soccer. The end of the result, it was 0-0. So we need to go extra time. But the referee decided, or the match commissioners decided to put 1-0 in favor of one team. And then they want to give the award. What should be done is that the award should be curtailed, should be held till the true scores of the game are determined. And if there's a need for extra time and penalties to be played, is played so that the real winner gets the trophy. I don't think that anything other than granting this is right. But once again, I'm a lay person. We are waiting to hear from the Supreme Court. I believe that the Supreme Court judges have the knowledge and the capacity to do the right thing, and they will do the right thing. You heard about Malawi, right? The judges in Malawi who are getting awarded all over the world because they did not let their allegiances or things override their professional etiquette. They overruled an election and called for a rerun because that's what the facts point to. I'm expecting the same thing will probably happen in Ghana. I mean, if the right things are done.
Okay, so what you're saying is we should expect lawyers.
Let me make one quick. I mean, I think when Jibreal was rating, when he was listing the order of, who will be the leader? I think I just checked the constitution. The president, the vice president, and if the vice president is not there, it is the speaker of parliament. After speaker of parliament, before the chief justice.
Thanks for the correction.
Yeah, I believe that is the reason why the NPP is doing everything, fighting to take the majority in parliament, because they know very well, and I think and I believe, Jibreal, I believe in my instinct that they believe that this injunction will be happening. They know and believe that Mahama is going to put an injunction on the president, restraining him from calling himself as a president. And if the Supreme Court grant it, which I don't know if the Constitution will allow them to do that, if the Supreme Court grant it, then the president, the vice president, they are out. The next person should be the Speaker of Parliament. So therefore, that is why they are doing everything possible to get the majority in Parliament, which is not going to be possible For now, it's 137. If the court case come off tomorrow and Amewu is told that he is illegally representing the people of Huawei, then we have a clear majority whereby it's going to be 137 as against 136. Don't forget that we are fighting the Chima South. If the Chima South also comes on board, then we become the majority in parliament. So that is why I believe people are fighting. The MPP is doing everything to elect the speaker and the first speaker, deputy speaker of parliament. They know court is coming. They know the probability of the court asking the president, desisting himself from calling himself as the president. They know it's going to happen. That is why they are fighting over the speakership in parliament. That is my layman understanding.
Yeah. So in all this, when we talk about this, there's a need to re-emphasize the position or the contribution of the Electoral Commission in all this mess. We need to keep repeating it over and over again. These are matters they can resolve administratively.
Right.
Techiman South can be resolved administratively.
Exactly.
The case of Huawei is we talked about this last 2 weeks. The clear case of gerrymandering, altering the borders of the Huawei constituency, mainstream the night before an election, and all that. Let's let the courts decide that. And in fact, the courts deciding that must also be done in daylight.
Exactly.
We know that the Electoral Commission is not showing any appetite to do any resolution now. I mean, it has to go to court, and we are in court. So
yeah, they are on vacation.
They are on vacation. They actually on vacation.
The final 5 judges to listen to the case tomorrow. That's so interesting.
Okay, so let me take these comments and then see how we can deal with the comments that people are sending us. Seto says, how come even though the Supreme Court is in recess, the Chief Justice is putting up a 5-panel judge to sit on the injunction placed on the Huawei seat? Now, just a quick clarification on that. I think the issue with the Huawei thing is a matter of constitutional interpretation, where there's a CI 95 which created the constituency, the Huawei constituency, and in that CI 95 there is the Central Kofis, the Akpafus, Likpe, and Lolobi as part of the constituency. And if we were to annul that CI today, that means the representation from Huawei currently in parliament will have to leave parliament. So there was no way they were going to do that until the 7th parliament actually stands down and the new parliament goes into place. So and at the same time there's Article 47 subsection
Constitution
that says that a constituency cannot be caught up between 2 regions. So this, I believe, is what the Supreme Court will be looking at tomorrow, and this is what this question is about.
So Alfred, does Constitution replace common sense all the time? I mean, that's the question I ask. So I think that it's possible for the right things to be done. Responding to Seto's comment about the paneling of judges, my reaction to that will be, I believe that the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, is working hard for Ghana, so that even though they are on vacation, he wants the good of Ghana, so he's doing that. Let's see that reflected in every other action they take. Every other case, important cases that they take, and then we will all support them. We pray for them and pray for God's guidance for them to deliver justice. But here again, we cannot say that Constitution says ABCD, and if it doesn't make sense, we stick to it. That will not make us a thinking people. And if you've read what H. Pempe and Dr. Professor Azar and some other legal brains, who I believe I give credence to for the legal knowledge, I'm not a lawyer. They think that something must be done.
Okay.
What happened in Huawei is disgraceful. It's clear gerrymandering, and so the CI you referred to, does it create a new boundary for the Huawei constituency necessarily?
No, it can't do that now. Before anything can be done, they have to wait for the 8th parliament to be in place. That is why common sense should tell you that
the status quo.
Exactly, the status quo.
But there is a Supreme Court judgment. I think Jacher also went
against the
judgment that says that the SALL, which is the Central Kofi and Akwafu and those areas, should remain part of the Hohwe constituency against the regional delimitations until for this election purpose, for the purpose of this cycle, until we finally, put them in the right place. But that wasn't really adhered to. This was something the NDC, according to my understanding, forwarded to the electoral commissioner in Jasikai and even in Hohwe in order to have them include the Akwafu people in the process, but they didn't listen to them.
So we cannot complete this conversation without pointing out the fact that there was deliberate attempt to disenfranchise some people. The issue of a constituency straddling more than one region is not, in my opinion, fatal than people in more than one region having the right to vote and have a representation. And, Alfred, why would it happen that we have created 6 new regions and it's only in the Volta region where a constituency straddles 2 regions, and the side that are given the permission to vote are the ones that are in Amawu's stronghold? Why is it that they didn't let the Lolobi people vote and the Hohwe people abstain from voting?
I think you've answered the question yourself, Jibreal.
Right?
If they've allowed other people to vote,
this could have been done in the other way around too. Instead of letting Hohwe side vote and the SALL people not vote, why didn't they let the SALL area people rather vote and then the Hohwe people not vote? Because
that's
they
a good
are
question.
In a different region.
That's a good question.
So that should tell you that I think common sense was not applied while they were gerrymandering and deliberately doing things to get a seat from the Volta region. And so this is a matter in court. I believe that, justice will be done. There are some times that people really, I believe, really want to take sides in a matter, but their conscience pricks them. Their common sense pricks them, and then they look at things the right way and do the right thing. That's what I keep saying. The right thing will be done.
Okay, let me take the next comment here quickly as we bring this program to an end. I have one more question after that on the economy, which I would invite you to comment on before we go. But let's take this comment. Sato again says, also, how come the Chief Justice disregard asking the Attorney General if every citizen in the Hohwe constituency has voted before accepting to quickly put together the judges to hear the case tomorrow?
Sato, the chief. See, actually, let's save the Attorney General. The Attorney General is not even part of this. The Attorney is the Deputy Attorney General.
Attorney General, yes.
The Attorney General. Did you hear that the Attorney General? And I'm sure you probably know, is not interested in being an Attorney General post January 7th. She has seen a lot, and her advice has not been adhered to. In a JPA deal, he spoke against it. PDS and all those things.
She spoke against them.
Yeah, she spoke against them. They still went ahead and did things anyway. So, Sato, this is not Attorney General. This is a young boy, Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Odame or so, who is dancing to the tune of higher forces to impress them for a future possibility of a higher office. But sometimes our pursuit of our personal glory at the instance of common sense and doing the right comes back to haunt us. I believe that he should learn the lessons from the substantive Attorney General.
Thank you. I think I side with you. Thank you.
Okay, so the next comment here is from Thomas Asana. Thomas says, hello, Mr. Alfred and comrades. The NDC is not abandoning its figures. The NDC will be using its figures to cross-examine the EC and juxtapose it with the cooked figures of the EC, so the world will see the true winner of the election. Is that a comment you associate with?
Yeah,
Of course,
Thomas.
I've said that several times on this show, saying that the figures that we are challenging, we'll go to court, we'll compare them to do the right thing, we'll get an independent auditor who is going to audit the figures, and the truth will come out, and everybody will know that we won the election. That is why I stated categorically that we still stand by our assertion. Because I was working from the party head office, I had access to the strong room, so I know what is there, I know what we saw. So I still believe that we won the election. When the court gets an independent person to do the auditing, it will come out clear, and we're going to, everybody, the whole world will see who won the election.
My question, I support Thomas Hassan's comment, and my question to everybody listening, or assurance to everyone listening, is what is the best way for us to get the Supreme Court justices to ask for an independent counting of the mangoes in the basket, so that we know there are 10 mangoes in the basket, or there are 8 or 9, given the fact that the NDC claims there are only 8 mangoes, the MPP says there are only 9 mangoes, and the EC is saying there are 10 mangoes. What is the best way to determine how many mangoes are in the basket?
That's correct.
That is it. So let's go to the petition. Let the Supreme Court justice, even at the peril of all these legal technicalities, which of course they must do, they must start from the right place. Let's count the mangoes in the box and the basket, and then we will know. If we count those mangoes, we are saying there are 8 mangoes, right? The MPP says there are 9 mangoes. The AC says there are 10. If we count, and it turned out to be that the NDC actually had the 50+1% required, and that's the result of the independent audit, the Supreme Court will have the right to judge.
Exactly.
So let's count the mangoes in the basket. Period.
Okay. All right.
Just to add this last point, after when you notice, they are not even talking about the substantive case, the details of the case. All they are talking about is the clerical error that was omitted. That's all they are talking about, going around making a lot of noise, because they know very well that if we go into the details of the case, they will be exposed, the truth will come out. That is why they are trying to throw dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana to let them think that, there are issues. But you see, the hypocrisy of the MPP is in such a way that I cannot fathom with it. 2012, when they filed their petition, there was a lot of clerical errors, but nobody make a lot of noise about it. We didn't talk about it. It is, clerical issues that is allowed in court day in, day out. So that is an issue that will be corrected. So it's not an issue that we should allow them. They are playing mischief with it. They should continue playing the mischief. We'll meet them at the court, and the truth will come out.
So let me ask you this: clerical errors has been something the NDC bashed the EC over so many days since the election on the 7th. Everything the EC came out with has one clerical error or the other, just for the NDC itself to file a petition with a lot of errors. What is going? Is this a reflection on our education system?
Alfred, this is a simple thing. Clerical errors are things that is acceptable, but omitting mathematical error is unacceptable.
So Alfred, I if you recall, 2 weeks ago, I said that all of us should learn to look over our work. Okay. Right. Look over our work. And so I do take some bashing for those clerical errors in our petition. But there's a difference. The difference is that an error that is a constitutional instrument that will become part of our laws or legal instruments for the next 100 years needs more thorough look and correction than a complainant complaining that he's been cheated and making clerical errors.
Exactly.
The two of them are mangoes and oranges, even though I do agree that there should have been a thorough look over our work, and that goes across board.
Okay, that's a great admission. Okay, let me ask this last question on the economy, and then we can bring the program to an end. So, on the campaign trail ahead of the December elections, the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, promised to implement a $17 billion program to boost Ghana's economy. However, Big spending plans will be hard to reconcile with the fiscal tightening needed to bring down the debt. Reduced expenditure will weigh on the pace of recovery, and combined with the delayed development of oil fields owing to the pandemic, will slow the return to pre-crisis levels of economic activity. Do you foresee the Ghanaian economy returning to its pre-COVID levels this year?
Well, I will say that I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to speak much about the figures. But what I just want to put on the floor is that, look, these people, the economy is running into the negative. And I can tell you for a fact that they've been throwing dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana. They've been hiding the true figures from us. They go to the Parliament of Ghana, which is a constitutional mandate body that's supposed to audit them. They present different figures to them. And when they go to the IMF, they go and give a different figures to them. So these people trust them. If they say, look up, look down. I can tell you for a fact that we are going to go into the negative because the amount of money that was spent, that was shared during the election. I was in Ghana 5 days to the day of election, and after that, I stayed 5 days after the election. The 5 days to the election, the way they were going around sharing money, all those money are going to be just supposed onto the economy. So I would be surprised. They will come out there, or the president will be telling us on Wednesday, lying to us about the state of the economy. But trust me, it's allowed. If God permits and the court case goes through, and the judges are being very fair, and the judges allow an independent auditor to audit the results, and it turns out that the president didn't win, and there's either re-election or it turns out that Mahama won the election and there's a new government, that is where you see the true figures of Ghana economy. I can foretell you that Ghana's economy is in ICU as we speak, but they will come and tell us different story coming Wednesday. Just mark my words.
All right, Jibreal, same to you. Do you think that 17 billion promised by the president as something he would inject into the economy would happen? And if that wouldn't happen, if he's going to tighten up, do you think that would impact the recovery?
So I think this is what we were discussing 2 weeks ago, and my good friend Atta Bedu said I'm a doom prophet of doom and and all that. Listen, I still stand by from the outlooks that the economic indicators are showing for the next 4 years. I still stand by what I said the other time, that Ghanaians should brace up for a very rough 2021. We are in 2021. In January, the month of January is usually 60 days, but it probably may feel like 90 days this year. And the whole year is going to be very tough because, first of all, the $17 billion injection that the president is talking about, may not happen. Let's get this fact. Ghana's ICU economic stature, being in the ICU, did not happen post-COVID. We were already in the ICU before COVID happened, right? Ghana, if you go look at the IMF data, the World Bank data on Ghana, go back to January 2020 and go back. So we were already in the ICU.
So we are in the ICU from the standpoint of what? From the standpoint of our debt portfolio, or from GDP growth standpoint?
So you see, I love to talk about this thing in the late terms. When you start mentioning GDP, all those things, which are economic terms, technical terms that people of a certain class understand,
right?
You let the ordinary people, you left them out of the conversation. Before COVID, Ghana's unemployment situation, Ghana's debt situation, how much we are owing, was porous, was bad, right? The country was heading towards recession before COVID started. And as we speak, COVID only came, and see, Alfred, I actually think that the COVID situation rather helped Ghana stand its head up the water a little bit, because every economy was gone down. In the United States, there were a lot of stimulus injections and all that, which has affected the US economy and other economy, Italy, Europe, and all that. The economies got hit badly. And because of that, these big countries got a hit. The countries such as Ghana, which were already in ICU, benefited from that. Otherwise, the recession we are in, which began the last quarter of last year, would have started maybe the third quarter of 2020. Do you understand? So I think that our balance sheet is going to is worse. Is going to get worse. We are known for borrowing and hedging our mineral resources for the next 100 years and all that, which they have started doing before COVID hit. And I foresee them trying to do all that so that they can borrow more money. But I said the other time that when your credit rating, your balance sheet is bad, investors can take advantage of that, give you more money that you cannot pay at a very exorbitant rate that you have to spend 100 years paying for. The right investors who, like foreign companies who are in Ghana creating jobs and all that, some of them may be running out of the country, creating more joblessness and all. So, look, I don't wish the very bad for Ghana, but the reality is that just like the Sino Hydro project, 2020 is the year of roots, never saw the day of light. Just like God has told me to build a cathedral, and I'll build it in my first term. Never saw the light of day. Just like the president's 100 hospitals in 100 days, or is it 100 6 months or 1 year? I don't know how many hospitals he has started today, and I think that will not also see the light of, because the money we are heavily indebted, and we need money to eat. See, if we need money to eat, so we cannot invest in. I don't see where he's getting the $17 billion from, unless he's hoping to mortgage our oil, our bauxite, and our cocoa that we haven't planted yet for the next 100 years. That's my take.
Okay, that is very hopeful. All right, so let me take two more comments, and I know you guys have to be in other places as well. The family of Arco Radio wants me to say to you that you guys have done a very good job with all your presentation today on this show. So thank you all, Mr. Jibreal and Mr. Disosu, for the good work. Sato again says the injunction can be extended. I'm sure what he's talking about is the hallway, and injunction that perhaps needed to be extended in order for Amawu not to be sworn in as parliamentarian. So let me bring it all together in one question, which is, what are you looking at the composition of the Supreme Court? Are you hopeful that justice will be done in this case?
See, I am very confident that if the Supreme Court justices are minded to deliver justice, and they say, hey, even though they may believe that Akufo-Addo has won, but they said, let's prove it to Ghanaians so that, Mahama will be disgraced, embarrassed. Of course, if let's prove it out, and they do the right things, counting the mangoes in the basket to confirm how many mangoes are in the basket, they will be compelled to deliver justice.
Right.
And I plead to them. I believe they have the capacity. They love Ghana, and most of the times, this love for country, God and country, overrides our personal biases and egos. And I wish them the best. It's not an easy job. I think they have, but they should, look to serve the interest of Ghana over the interest of a few people.
Okay.
Well, for me, I would say I totally agree with what Jibreal just said. All that I want to say is that we are pleading that let there be compilation of the whole 38,000 big sheets.
Okay.
From all the 38,000 police stations, the truth will come out. Thank you.
Okay. The truth will come out. The truth will come out is the last word from Mr. Paul. So, gentlemen and ladies who have taken your time to watch us today, you've heard it from the two panelists. That's one, what Mahama is asking for is that the Electoral Commission, Mahama is saying the Electoral Commission is in violation of Article 63, subsection 3, which says that whoever is elected president must have more than 50% of the votes, and that Nana Akufo-Addo doesn't have that. Mahama is asking for an injunction on the president so that he doesn't continue to carry himself as president-elect, and a few other things. He's asking for a rerun of the election, and my panelists are hoping and praying that justice will prevail in courts when the Supreme Court convenes on this case. That is the Ghana agenda for today, and I want you to join me in saying a big thank you to my two panelists, Ms. I think I may have taken myself out, so you couldn't hear me.
Yes.
Paul has been gracious enough to help us with today's presentation. His name, he is from Massachusetts NDC, and he's also a technology engineer. Paul, thank you so much for coming to Ghana Agenda, and we appreciate it. I know you have another commitment, so we're going to bring today's show to an end. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Sundays, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to maybe 7. Ghana Agenda is on, and we bring you some of the best conversations on radio. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much. We would be back next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.